Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I am at Robie Creek Park on Lucky Peak Reservoir. Well, sort of on Lucky Peak Reservoir. It's part of the Lucky Peak system. This is where Robie Creek and Moores Creek come together, and in turn they fill up Lucky Peak Reservoir. Now what you're going to see here when I take off is you're just going to see the creeks down below, because the reservoir is not full at all, and you're going to see it drained way down. But we're going to do just a little bit of exploration here with the Fimi X8 SE. So yeah, I mean, it's always fun to fly at a new place. You're going to see here the trees here. In fact, the breeze just came up and there's leaves blowing around. The trees are starting to turn. This is kind of mid to late October. So just the next few days are the last really nice shirt sleeve weather that we're going to have until next spring. So I've been getting out and flying. And in fact, you may not see this video for weeks from now or even months from now. Some of these the flights I'm going to save to put them up in the middle of winter so that we can remember what the nice weather was like. But in any case, let's quit messing around. Let's get the Fimi X8 SE 2022 version into the air. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, this is not the V2 version with the drop thing and all that stuff. This is just the regular 2022 version. So yeah, enough jibber jabber. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, I've got the Fimi Navi 2020 app fired up, and it's telling me that everything is normal. I am going to go look at our return to home height. Yeah, and I want to change that, and I'm going to do it. I forgot last time to check the checkbox after I moved it up. So we're going to want it pretty high here because we've got some terrain around us. So I don't know. I'm going to go up 80 meters, and hopefully that'll be enough. And I'm going to check that check mark, and that way it'll save it. I was just over at the viewpoint and I reset it, and I didn't check that check mark, so then it defaults back to where it was before. So anyway, we got that now. You got to remember to do that on this drone. These are little idiosyncrasies. I fly a lot of drones and a lot of different apps, and those are things that you have to remember. Now I want to go look at the camera menu real quick here and see if it retained. I was shooting in high video quality earlier, but I see it's back to medium. We're going to click that up to high. So evidently it defaults back to medium. It did retain the H.265 codec, the more efficient codec. So we're good there. I'm going to start recording. Maybe, yep, there it goes. And let's do an auto takeoff on the app. And you'll see this guy, I like the way it double kicks the props there to kick them out. And it goes exactly 4 meters high. And we'll let it get a look at the its area there that its landing pad is. And then yeah, let's move it around here and get it facing me. And we're gonna do our droney. You're not gonna see the droney on the on the Action 2 camera because of where I'm at here. Let's bring it down a little bit, facing it towards us. And yeah, we're gonna do a droney. So what you're gonna see here is you're gonna see Little Robie Creek going into Moores Creek, and when it's full, it would all be Lucky Peak. So reverse it up now, reverse and up. And we're going to do way more reverse than we are up here, because I just want you guys to see all this. I'm dropping the camera down a little, and now let's go up. So there, let's stop right there for a second. So what you see there on the left is Robie Creek flowing into Moores Creek, and Moores Creek in turn goes into Lucky Peak Reservoir, and then eventually they end up in the Boise River. So let's turn around here, and you see a car parked down there. He went right down the boat ramp and parked down there, but let's turn around here so you can kind of see the terrain. And it's pretty dry, and you can see it looks to me like people have been down there on four-wheelers and so forth. Let's see, I probably, if I didn't already post it, I took a picture of the information stand here that they have about the park, and you saw a sign there that said no drones without permit. And I do have a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. You have to renew that annually. I got to be honest with you, I feel very fortunate because they don't have to do that. You talk to a lot of places that are run by the Corps of Engineers, and you just can't fly a drone there. So I feel very fortunate that here in Idaho, the Army Corps of Engineers allows us to fly drones, and so therefore we want to be very respectful about what we do. But yeah, I mean, God, what a beautiful area here, huh? Part of this is part of the area that you guys haven't seen. So maybe I'm not sure I want to get behind any of this terrain, but we might try and get over the top of it here, because it kind of goes around the corner. And you can see that, I mean, you can see by the water lines in the summertime, this place is chock full. And I can imagine where I'm standing right now, a lot of people on their boats, probably here. We got good GPS. Well, just went down to 16. I had 17. I'm raising in altitude too, trying to get above the terrain here, give us the best shot that we have at a good signal. I'm going to kind of move to the right here so we can see this little peninsula that's kind of, as we go around the bend, off to our right. And yeah, and the thing I'm going to remind you about this drone is it has no obstacle avoidance, so you could run it right. And yeah, I'm starting to run out of, I see my FPV signal on the screen, so I'm going to grab some altitude here. My FPV signal was starting to go into the red there, even though it still looked good on my screen. That's what that meter is for on the top of your app. So yeah, let's kind of go around the corner here, and you can see out into Lucky Peak Reservoir, and that's Highway 21 on the left side of the screen. And they still call this Moore's Creek. If you're on this part of the reservoir, it's still called Moore's Creek. And we're just about up to max legal height here, so we're gonna stay right there. We're at 119 meters high, so we're gonna stay right there. Yeah, just kind of want to give you guys a look at the terrain here. 16 satellites, so we're doing good. This is a drone that I always keep an eye on the GPS. Yeah, and it's telling me it's reached max altitude, so I'm going to drop it down just a little so we don't keep getting that warning. And we'll move forward a little bit. We're not going to go out here too much further because I am starting to see, yeah, I just lost FPV as I begin to turn there. And I think I'm turning. I don't know for certain. FPV is going in and out. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. That's why I set that, yeah, and so we lost connection there as I started to turn. So the drone will go into return to home. It'll stay at the height it's at now. Yeah, there we go. We got it back. Let's see if we can turn it around. Maybe I'll just back it up. I was trying to turn. Maybe my best bet is to back it up. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Starting it, yeah, we're going in and out. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the return to home switch on the controller so that when we get a signal again, it'll go into return to home. So that's kind of interesting. A lot of time we just lost it very suddenly there. But we had a pretty decent control signal, and then we lost it, and now it's saying disconnected. So we're going to have to assume that it's on its way back. Yeah, auto return. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of came back there for a second. Yeah, it's coming back. I'm watching the the telemetry. So hopefully we'll get FPV here. And it is, I want it higher than what it is here. Yeah, I am pushing that stick way up because look where we're at. I wanted to make sure we were above all this. That's what I was afraid of. So I was hoping that it would have stayed in, so it actually descended. Most drones, when they go into return to home, they'll stay at the height that they're at. So there's a lesson right there. I should have set that return to home height even higher than it was. So I am not sure. It looks to me like our recording stopped. I'm going to hit that button again. Yeah, so there we got recording. So I'm not sure if it stopped while we were in return to home or not, but we got good signal again. So I shut off return to home and we're moving back over here. So that is the lesson, folks. And this is going to look a lot better now because we got the sun at our back. But yeah, I mean, we sure very, very suddenly lost signal there. And as I go down here, it could happen again. And you can see at the height we were at, you know, I had that return to home height set at 80 meters. Look at the terrain right next to us. And I hear a dog barking, so somebody must have hiked up the creek there. So we'll bring it back and we'll see if we can go the other way up Moore's Creek a little bit. Where are we at? 53% battery. So, and there we are right there. And drop the camera down a little bit so you can kind of see more of the terrain. So yeah, that was kind of interesting how it dropped to the return to home altitude. Usually your return to home altitude is what it will raise to if it needs. And it's kind of interesting to me that in this case, even though we were at a higher altitude than that, and the drone is just almost right above us now, that it descended to that return to home height, which in this case would have, I'm not sure that it wouldn't have made it over that that hill, but you know, who wants to take a chance? So I'll know in these kind of situations with this drone to go ahead and set it very high. Now here's a situation right here. You know, if I go around this bend here, could I lose connection as suddenly as we did earlier? It's possible. But you can see at the height we're at, we would be over the top of this terrain. So I think we're probably in pretty good shape. Let's, just for the fun of it, let's go ahead and go back into there and we're going to set return to home height. We're going to look at that again. I'm going to click that all the way up to max and I'm going to check that checkbox. That way we're good. If we go into return to home, that thing's going to go all the way up to max legal. So anyway, this is Moore's Creek right here, and this comes all the way down from, well, Moore's Creek Summit up at the Central Mountains in Idaho. I've actually flown a drone from there. If you go up Highway 21, you'd end up at, and I'm seeing I'm seeing break up on FPV again. So, oh yeah, and just as soon as I stopped, I got a blank screen. So, yep, let's go ahead. Let's just bring this guy back. I flipped it into return to home. And let's see if it'll take that. Yeah, it says returning home. Yeah, and yeah, no, let's see. Yeah, there it took it. There it took it. And look at it go up to that 120 meters. But that's what I was telling you about with regard. And did you see how fast it went up there too? I mean, it didn't waste any time going up. And it's coming back to us pretty quick here too. Okay, we still got 43% battery. Let's see if we can maybe look up Robie Creek just a little ways while we're at it. So I'm going to take it out of RTH. We are dropping in altitude here as we come back. And again, we're just in normal mode. So I'm assuming that it quit recording there when we had that earlier loss of connection, but I can't say that for certain. There I am down there. Drone is almost right above us. And, you know, it'll tell you the difference that terrain makes, right? You just, you know, these drones, you get them into terrain. So, yeah, let's get off the highway here. We're not going to go too far up here because, again, what you're going to see here is that you could get you could get into terrain issues. So let's bring it forward here. And that is Robie Creek. And they do, they famously do, and I'm looking at the drone right above me there, they famously do a marathon here every year, the Run to Robie Creek. And that's the Robie Creek Park right there. We'll kind of peek around the corner here, but again, we've learned our lesson with terrain, so we're not going to get too carried away. I'm going to make sure I'm well above that big old pine tree right there. We'll take a peek around the corner, and then we'll bring this guy home because I'm looking at that mountainside. I kind of doubt the drone would get high enough. And let me tell you what, if it went into return to home, there is no obstacle avoidance on this guy. It would smack right into that. So since we know now that we're not going to go any further, I'm going to go back into the menu, maybe, and I'm going to go back into that return to home height, and we're going to set it at about 35 meters, roughly. It's a little, this thing is awful sensitive. That's going to be close enough. Check that checkbox. And let's hit return to home. I want to test. Let's see, we're at 48 meters now. Let's see if it descends when I put it in return to home. And I'm going to do it on the controller. Just flipped it into RTH. And is it descending? You know, it's not. So I wonder, I'll have to go back and look at the data. Maybe I had already descended earlier when it did that. So I could, yeah, it's not descending. So I may have misspoke there earlier, and I was lower than I thought when it went into return to home. So I thought I was up higher than that. Okay, let's see if we get a precision landing. We're down to 32% battery. Drone is coming down, landing pad not detected. We're just going to let it land no matter what it does. Yeah, you're going to be able to see that on the Action 2 camera. I don't know, not detected. I'll bet you it gets it. I'll bet you it gets it spot on. And the cool thing about this drone is it'll stop recording once it lands. Landing pad detected, so it's going to zero in on it as best it can. We got, and of course, we got a big wind coming up here. It's going to make it harder for it to adjust. Boy, it never fails. But look at that. It's zooming in. It's coming in. It's going to be darn close. And it dropped down. As you can see, it's kind of half on, half off the pad. Yeah. And I like how it's reminding me to put that toggle back into the run mode because it's on in the return to home mode. Thank you, Fimi, for that. And it's telling us we're below 30% battery. So let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, let me hurry this up. We're about out of battery on the Action 2 camera. I've been using it pretty hard today. So the Fimi X8 SE 2022 version. Man, I'm impressed with this guy. Yeah, did we lose control there? Listen, we're in pretty tough terrain here. We're flying through these canyons and stuff. So, you know, what can you expect? But it did fine, and what I'm excited about is showing you guys a little different part of the Lucky Peak reservoir system and the facilities that they provide. Is pretty cool. The drone performed well. Like I said, we had a couple of disconnections, but you know, I was behind terrain there, so not complaining about that. But I also want to repeat, remember that return to home height. Take a lesson from me, set it up higher to make sure you're getting over terrain. And those other spots that I know that were higher than even that 120 meters, it wouldn't have got over. So you always need to keep that in mind if you're going around a corner or something like that. But anyway, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really do appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, of course, we'll see you on the next one. The Fimi X8 SE 2022. I'm calling this one a winner. See you guys later. Bye now.